Friendship patterns in the deaf community are pretty different from friendship patterns in the hearing community. So I'm reading from Master ASL on page 146 about friendship patterns in the deaf community. Having many lifelong friendships is a common experience for people who belong to small, tight knit communities. Long lasting friendships between deaf people often begin at schools for the deaf and continue through college, marriage, and old age. Email, video phones, and class reunions are just a few ways deaf individuals stay in contact with each other. Newcomers to an area are quickly welcomed and form close friendships as well, especially if the individual actively participates in deaf community events. Historically, these deep bonds were formed by the shared experience of being deaf in a predominantly hearing world. Hearing people are welcome in the deaf community as long as the language and the culture of the deaf are respected, and hearing individuals who sign fluently can easily form friendships with deaf individuals. So think about these questions. How is that different from hearing culture? How does that compare to your experience? What benefits do you think the deaf community gains from being close knit? And would there be any drawbacks? My experience with the deaf community is exactly this. I have been signing for 30 years and I've been making deaf friends for 30 years. And it's really cool that these friendships last. I was thinking recently if I don't know, I came across someone who had been in one of my college classes 30 years ago. And I said, oh, I remember you. That might be cool. And it might even be creepy. Like, what do you mean you remember me? That's weird. We haven't seen each other for 30 years, right? But with deaf people, it's not that way at all. Um, you're part of the family when you're part of the deaf community, and friendships do last for a long time. I have a friend who's deaf that I actually don't really have that much in common with. Our personalities aren't necessarily very similar, but we like hanging out because we are part of the deaf community. We like signing. We like catching up on each other, even though we don't necessarily have a lot in common. So friendships in the deaf community are close, tight knit, and they last for a really long time.